Oh, hello and welcome to this week's live chit chat show with Lucy Brand and myself, Natasha Harris, where we're going to be talking about how to be authentically visible in your life and in your relationships today. We're going to share these out to a few groups, but Lucy and I always have a bit of a giggle just before we come on live, which is always good energy to come into here. So if you are joining us live, then please do let us know where you're watching us from. If you're on replay, please type #replay and let us know as well where you're watching us from. We have had an interesting week this week. In our membership, we've been talking about self-leadership and all those exciting things. And today we're going to be talking about how to be authentically visible, because it is such an important topic, the authenticity piece and the visibility piece. So if this resonates, then you really will receive so much information and guidance and tips and tools about how to do that in your own life. So I'm going to go and share and hand over to the beautiful Lucy.
Hi everyone. I just wanted to share out to my page. I'm really excited about this topic, and so are our members. Self-leadership, that's the theme this month, and it just feels really juicy. And we had one of our lovely friends, Abigail Rebecca, who's a visibility coach. She was our guest speaker yesterday, because we have guest speakers monthly. And there were so many amazing nuggets in Abby's masterclass for our membership. And we took notes. And one of them, that's why we came up with the authentically visible. And that's what we want to talk into today. And it is a really juicy topic, because there are so many times in our lives where we put on masks, where we people please, where we say yes to stuff when we really mean no. And it's going to be harsh, but that's when we're not being authentic. No. And that's when we're not putting ourselves first. And that's what it ultimately comes down to, is putting yourself first and also having good boundaries in order to be authentic, and having this belief that you will be loved no matter what. And if you're being authentic and people aren't resonating with that, then let them jog on, because they're not worth being in your life. You don't need them, because there's going to be so many other people that will value, love, and appreciate you for being authentically you.
Yeah.
And also just like being authentically you. Oh no, I've lost it.
You lost it. Okay. No, it's so important. I'll just ride on Lucy's wave there. But in all of our relationships, whether that be our partner, our colleagues, friendships, business partners like Lucy and I mean, the incredible level of authentic visibility that we've both stepped into through this, like in our community, but also with each other, about really stepping into this partnership that we've created, because we've now gone official and we've created a limited partnership together, which is really exciting. We have had to be really honest with each other around who we are, who we want to be, how each of us want to show up differently. We have a shared dream and a shared goal, but we're going to come at it very differently. We're going to approach it very differently. And that's the same in friendships. It's the same with romantic relationships. And it's about this level of honesty and openness, and how we can step into the new paradigm and start to do relationships very different. Let go of the mask. Like, where are you not showing up authentically in your relationships? Now, have a think, go through everyone that you know and you have a real genuine and deep relationship with, that's more than just surface level, and ask yourself, where are you hiding? Where are you not showing up fully and authentically? Spend 5 minutes and just inquire within. Where are you trying to be something, to fit into someone you're supposed to be accepted, to be liked, and not showing yourself fully for fear of something?
Yeah, I completely agree. And that exercise is a wonderful one to do. And also off the back of that comes being vulnerable. And I have to admit, like, being vulnerable with Natasha when we first started the business, that's not that's not something that comes naturally to me, because I was so used to doing everything on my own. Like, I was a business owner, I've been on my own for years, and I have my husband. But even my relationship with Natasha, when I started being really vulnerable with Natasha about just things that were going on in my personal life and things like that, I then realized where I wasn't being vulnerable in my marriage. And it's been such a deep learning for me over the last year working with Natasha. But then also seeing that being reflected in my friendships, in my marriage, and where I can look to being more vulnerable, which is really scary for me, if I'm honest. Like, I do try and have everything perfect, and I get worried that if I let my guard down, people are going to hurt me. Like, it's a genuine fear for me, or they're not going to like me and then they're going to leave me. And that comes from, I have done years of work on this belief, on this experience of mine. But when I was little, my parents moved around a lot. So it meant that I would start in the middle of school terms. And every time I would start a new play group or a new school, the rules would be different. The lunch times would be different. My teacher would be different. The children that I would be with would be different. And they'd already formed their bonds and their friendships. So it would be really hard coming into that. And then all of a sudden I'd have to move again. So I've had to do a lot of unlearning from that, and like not put on my protective armor and be vulnerable and kind of step into situations like this one with Natasha. Actually, I was nudged by Source. It was more of a like, off you go. But like, step into it and drop the mask, drop the facade. I don't know. I think maybe like maybe the first month or 6 weeks, I probably was trying to be the perfect person and like not be vulnerable and pretend I had it all together. Then I imagine that we just had a conversation and it just like something all fell apart with me, and then I could be completely honest. And I think that's what happens, is if you do struggle with being vulnerable, then something will happen, and then the mask falls away, and then that person really sees you for who you are. And then I think it's kind of a gift, because this has happened with me on their part, when they actually get the opportunity to support you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, especially as women, we're such good supporters, but we're very bad at being supported. We are very good at doing the masculine energy of supporting others, of being there, of fixing it. What do you need? I can be there. I'll be heroic. I can totally put my hand up to that. I can fix everything. I'm a genius at it. And, so if that resonates with you, then, just let us know, because like, you're really not alone. But it's recognizing that in ourselves. But how willing are you to receive? And if you enjoy supporting others, then why would your friends not enjoy supporting you? And so when we allow ourselves to receive, that's very much stepping into the feminine energy, the beautiful new paradigm energy of unity, collaboration, connection. This is authenticity. That's exactly everything it is. It's about strengthening connections. It's about unity. It's about collaborating. It's like, what do you need? I'm here for you. Be open to receiving. It's about honesty. It's about authenticity. It's about openness. And that's the beautiful divine feminine energy that we can allow ourselves to step into. Like, years ago, I couldn't even receive a compliment. Like, I couldn't even receive a compliment. Like, somebody would say, oh, I love your curly hair. I was like, oh, I hate it. Like, I want straight hair like everyone else. Oh, I love your t-shirt. Oh, this old thing, I got it in the sale. Like, we do it all the time. We are so unwilling to, or unable to receive, that we can't even do it with the small things. So allowing yourself to receive on that level will open yourself up to being authentic, being vulnerable, and being visible and being seen. Like, so many people say, well, no one hears me. I'm like stamping away in the corner. No one can hear me. Like, people ignore me. And it's because we're not showing up authentically. We know that. We know that, we sense that in others. And it's tough showing up authentically because it means that we might get hurt. But when we're not being authentic, we're hurting ourselves anyway. That is a given. That is a given. We disconnect, we step away from ourselves. We don't get wisdom from the higher self. We step out of ourselves. So we're hurting ourselves anyway. Being vulnerable can hurt us, but we're in a better position for growth and expansion from that place.
And yeah, and I just, all of that means being highly visible. Like, it all means being highly visible, which can be a really scary thing, and highly authentically visible. And the thing is, we all do it. We all try and, you know, pretend to be something that we're not, wear a mask to fit in, because that's like, as what's it called, back in the day, we wanted to fit in the tribes. You know, we were all part of tribes, and so that's kind of in our DNA sometimes, to be something, to please someone, to fit in, to not be left out. But the thing is, the more authentic that you are, and what I mean is, when I say authentic, what I mean by that is saying yes when you really mean yes, not saying yes out of obligation, and saying no when you really want to say no. Because the thing is, when you don't do that, people are wise. Like, people can read people's energy, whether you believe that or not, you know. And I can put it this way: if you walk into a room and two people have just had an argument, you know, don't you? Like, even just from looking at their faces, or just, you can feel like you can cut the tension with a knife. You know, these old sayings do have a lot in them. So when that happens, when you're going, I'm fine, I can manage everything myself, like, it's all great, then people can see straight through that, and then there's a disconnect, and that can do more damage to relationships than actually being authentic and being like, do you know what, actually everything's not great because this and this and this is going on right now, like, and I'm struggling. That's the honest answer. And when I've been that authentic visibly, whether that be, for me, it could be in a newsletter, or it could be with my husband or friends, the response I've always got is an outpouring of love. Always been an outpouring of love and compassion, and never anything else. I think, like, one of the things I shared, it was a few months ago actually, about being vulnerable about choosing not to have children, and opening up a dialogue about that. Some of my experiences that I've had because of that choice I've made, it was really vulnerable of me to share that, because I don't normally talk about that. And the outpouring and love that I received was amazing. And that was me being really vulnerable, really authentic, and just sharing from my heart.
Yeah. No, it is life altering and life expanding. It really is, when we show up, and it's not something we're taught that is safe to do. We're told it's really dangerous. We're told, like, don't say that, like, don't. And it comes back, you know, from what Lucy said, for centuries we've had to be held safe in a community, because if we were ostracized or removed from that community, that meant sudden death, because we couldn't survive on our own centuries ago. We needed community in order to do that. Now our community is global. We can go anywhere and build our community. And where we have communities that allow us to be authentic, we absolutely thrive. And what also then happens is the people that don't want to hear our authenticity, they just disappear. They can't handle it, because it's not about standing up and like being like loud and shouty about it. It's about again, it comes back to the feminine, like the feminine energy of softness, gentleness, compassion, kindness, love, self-nurture. It's not like, I need to be authentic. It's not that kind of energy. It's very soft, it's very gentle. And people who are not ready to be in that can't be in it. So they will go find their own communities. But when we do, oh my goodness, everything in life changes. You know, the power that Lucy and I have in what we're able to create together is huge. And it is, the foundations of that is the fact that we are able to be honest, open, and vulnerable with each other in a really authentic way. It's not like I expect Lucy to fix anything for me. I just want to be heard. We all want to be heard. It is a basic need. But this doesn't mean that we cannot set healthy boundaries for ourselves. So this is something I really want to say. This isn't about, I'm just going to be vulnerable and see where it lands, and hopefully everyone will be compassionate with us. And I'm just going to, you know, there are things that we don't have to be open and honest about. It's about conscious choice. Where do I want to step into authenticity and vulnerability? Where is this important for me to make a stand? Like, there are some things I will not be quiet about that are close to my heart. Freedom, choice, you know, the environment, connection, loving each other, regardless of where we're at and what we want to do. But there are boundaries that we want to put in place, not walls, permeable, soft boundaries about where we are willing, and knowing when it is really safe to stand in your community and say, I believe this, and everyone going, wow, I hadn't thought about that. That's really interesting. I think differently, but that's okay, because I love your authenticity and believe us when we tell you there are communities out there that will support you regardless. There really are.
Yes, and I just to add to that, like the not fixing, that's something that my husband realized with me when we first met. It's no secret, when we first met I was a complete train wreck, but he it's true, but he realized that he didn't need to fix me. Like, and with all his previous relationships, he is a fixer. Like, he fixes everything from coding to when I do break something around the house. But like, so he is a fixer, it's in his DNA. But he realized with me, he didn't need to fix me. He just needed to be there for me. Like, that was it. And that's huge. That stayed with me throughout my life, and his, because it's changed the way he is around stuff. And I love what also you said, Natasha. So don't say something because you'll be seen as weak. I mean, how many times have I seen that in corporate? Don't show your emotions. Don't say that you're on your period. Don't say that, like, this has happened. You know, don't cry. Don't get upset. Like, you know, just take it when someone's shouting at you because you haven't got the results. Like, don't show any emotion. Like, that's kind of, I'm going to use the word, beating it into you to not be authentic. You know, if you're experiencing those feelings, those emotions, and that's just standard practice, because we're not like, and this is what I see as the old paradigm, like the old paradigm, which is based on competition, not being authentic, doing everything for your personal gain, nothing for the greater good, not connecting with people in an authentic way, not being compassionate, not understanding. That's how I see the old paradigm. I see it as the 80s with like shoulder pads, just like work, you know, like no lunch break. Yeah. And then yeah, just like, and that with if you're being authentic, like the people that will come to you, the community that will surround you, will be worth so much more than those connections based on inauthentic connections. And they'll really want to support you and rise and support you in rising and elevating in your life. And also, just as another point, you know, if you, I get this. If I don't really lie anymore or tell white lies, but if I do, like, it feels really uncomfortable internally for me. Or even if I have to withhold the truth because it's not appropriate or it's not my place, I don't feel it's my place to share something, it sits really uncomfortably with me, like, because it doesn't feel like I'm being authentic. And I find that really challenging. So I think you can use that as a barometer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when I've kind of like made a bit of a mistake or a bit of a boo-boo, and I've been like, oh, I just need to own up to that, and try to skirt around the edges of it without taking full responsibility of it. It sits really uncomfortably with me now. And oh, there's a bit of feedback. Can you hear that? Is that okay?
I'm okay. Yeah, I can't
Oh,
hear any, my
I've
love.
just got some feedback from somewhere. So it's like it feels really uncomfortable to skirt around the edges. And so when I really show up and I really sort of say, actually, you know what, this happened, like I kind of made a bit of a boo-boo, or I made a bit of a mistake. I mean, like, oh my goodness, like it's always received so much like, oh, okay, don't worry about it. Thanks for being honest. Like, I really appreciate it. There is so much to be said with that. And really, in terms of relationships, it's so important for us to, really understand how and what do we want to show up for ourselves. Like, often, like in a relationship, or if we're single and we're like, oh, I want to create this perfect relationship, add to our list that we're putting into the magic pot is everything we want them to be. And what we want to look at is like, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up differently in this relationship? What am I willing to look at and notice when this shows up so I don't repeat my old patterns? And this is the same in communities. We expect so much from the other people within a community to make us feel okay. It's like, well, where are you going to meet people in the middle? Where are you going to show up halfway to allow others to meet you halfway? And that's in partnerships. And I think that's what Lucy and I have done beautifully and so successfully, is like we meet each other halfway. There's this beautiful balance. Sometimes I'll lean in a little bit more because she'll need me. Lucy will lean in a little bit more because I'll need her. But that level is like, where am I showing up? How am I going to show up differently? And that's where the beautiful edge of growth is. So I think the last thing I really want to leave you with is, if you feel like you don't have that community support around you, then come and join our Circle of Light movement. Come and try us out free for 14 days. There is no obligation to stay. Obviously, we'd love you to stay because there is so much power in what we're creating in that community. But our community is stepping in. They're meeting the rest of the community halfway. And as they do that, other people step in halfway. As Lucy and I step in halfway and not try to make it okay for everyone in the community, our community members step in and meet us. So if you want to be part of something amazing and incredible, then come and join us. I will pop it's all the links are in the post above or below, wherever it shows up.
Yes, we would love, love, love to welcome you, because we are creating a movement, and it starts with you. It starts with you and making conscious, healthy, meaningful change in your life, which we will help you to do through healings, guided meditations, activations, and coaching. And yeah, like it's just a beautiful community surrounded by lovely people that just all want to see everyone grow and all want to see everyone succeed. And that's just really lovely. And the support there as well when you go through challenges, because it's not all plain sailing. But yeah, we would love to welcome you. So please do try for no risk, free 14 days, and see how you
14
feel.
days. Yeah. And if you've got any questions, private message us. Tell us. Oh, yeah, quite a bit of feedback. I think I'm going to have to end it. I've got feedback on my laptop for some reason. Sorry, ladies.
Hi, Philippa. Thank you for letting us know. Yeah, so if you've got any questions, then please do reach out to Natasha or I, and we'll be happy to answer them. And we're sending you so much love. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we shall see you next week.
Bye for now. Thanks for watching.